understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, October 5th, 2019. I'm Lilletty O'Hare.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we've got 3 new episodes this week. One of which is a finale season, one of which is a finale series, and the other of which did a thing. That was in the comics, I think. How did I do? Was that right?
Well, sorta. Yeah. Yeah. We got one season finale, one series finale, and yeah, wow.
Well, I guess we say series finale. Pennyworth. Well, we can talk about it, but we don't know how many. Yeah.
Yeah. It's right. We don't know if Pennyworth's been picked up. Epix has not announced their plans for Pennyworth going forward. I wish I had more P words in there. But yeah, and just up front, for those of you wondering, Sarah and I have both seen Joker. We're not going to talk about it on this episode. We're going to do our own DC movie report for Joker, which is probably going to may drop the same day as this episode, maybe a day later. I don't know.
It depends on how fast Ed can edit, I suspect.
Yeah. So yeah. If you're wondering our thoughts, you could hang back for that. Yeah, we got a lot going on, and so much, and we have so many shows. Next week we have 4 new shows dropping. 3 of which are returning shows, and then I feel like this is like the last week of the season for us, of the cycle. This is like our season 2 finale.
I would have said this is the end of our summer vacation.
Yes, yeah, because the big busy season starts next week.
So pray for us, light candles. Put offerings at your ofrenda. I don't know.
Call down for the mercy of the gods.
Basically. And when you do that, ask for conciseness for both of us, because we're going to have to start monitoring our ramblings for each show. Yes. Which is not my strong suit.
Yes. And if you want to tell us how excited you are, or if you want to yell at us too, people do that all the time. Feel free to drop us a line. You can email us dctv@wickedtheory.com. And if you're listening to us on a podcast app, which I'm sure most of you are, and if you haven't given us a rating or review, please do that, especially on Apple Podcasts. That's how we get the word out and people find us. Tell your friends about us, and just share. Even if you listen to one of the shows that we cover, you could listen to a little banter in the beginning and then jump to that episode and then move on. That's fine. The downloads help. And if you really want to be helpful, we're part of Wicked Theory Studios, which does have a Patreon, patreon.com/Wicked Theory. And for as little as $1 a month, you could just, help out with our overhead, keeping the lights on. And there's a free podcast there for you to enjoy, which is Ed Bonds with Bill, where I take our buddy Bill Sweeney and make him watch a James Bond movie every episode. Um, and I say make, but he enjoys it. And I think he's learning to love the franchise.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he is. He puts on a face, but
I know the face. I'm picturing the face, actually.
yes, yeah. And for all the kicking and screaming he does, he has yet to. Even if the movie's not, if he doesn't think the movie's great, he enjoys the experience. And we have a lot of fun hashing out and talking about it. We just talked about Goldfinger. Sean Connery's third movie. It was our first third movie, which I was excited about. Third movies are very important to the James Bond franchise.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Goldfinger. Okay.
Yes, yeah, and the song Shirley Bassey. What's not the Shirley Bassey, who is an episode title on Pennyworth. See, I'm bringing it back.
She was. Ooh, look at that transition, like a professional podcaster.
I think that's enough. Sarah, you ready to dive straight into these recaps? Get down to business.
Absolutely.
All right. Here goes. First up is Pennyworth, Season 1 Finale. Marianne Faithfull. Lord Harwood used his capture of the Queen to take control of the government and declare martial law. Unable to flee the country, Alfred decided to foil Harwood's plan. Martha realized that Thomas likes her sexually. Alfred's dad wanted to be a loyal member of the Old Guard. Last minute reveal, Alfred carried the Queen out of the building his father had just blown up.
Oh, Papa Pennyworth. Ugh.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Poor Alfred.
Poor Alfred. I don't know what he's gonna do.
Did I lose you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. I said poor Alfred and I got nothing.
I'm sorry.
I'm not poor Alfred. Poor Alfred gets what he gets. Alfred gets what he gets.
I was saying poor Alfred.
He knows what he did.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. My mother is very behind on this show. And after this episode, I'm not sure if I want her to catch up. Because something happens that I'm not sure if she's going to be able to handle.
Is it the thing with the Queen? Is it the thing with the Queen?
Yeah, the fact that Alfred boned the Queen.
The funny thing is, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. There is an interview that the showrunner Bruno Heller did at the conclusion of the show's run with The Wrap, and he said, you don't cast the actor we cast with that charm and charisma and not have certain things happen. So I don't know if that was planned from the beginning or not, but they appreciated that. Weirdly, he did not mention the allure of the Widow's Peak, and I enjoyed seeing the way the Queen had ruffled it. That made me happy. Only royalty can ruffle that peak.
I'm just wondering where Prince Philip is in all this.
I mean, what if it really is alt history and it's going to be Prince Alfred?
Ooh, yeah. This this whole bit was weird, but back to the show proper. So
dude, that was the most important part of the show. But whatever, continue.
So yeah, we had the final showdown. And Alfred was able to defeat Lord Harwood by finding the Sykes sisters and the Queen. And
I liked that it was a combination of practicality. Like, if I do this, they're gonna have to let me stay in England, and also, it was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. A lot of I love this scene on the docks. For some reason, that had a little bit of a Guy Ritchie feel to me.
Okay.
And I like the way that the story came together. I thought narratively all the beats were good. And that everyone was smart. It was just a matter of once everyone got the right information and the leverage and everything else that went on. And Alfred's dad ends up having one of the more complex arcs for the show.
Yeah.
And my question is, I'm wondering, does he really have cancer?
Oh, that's funny. I was going to bring that up too. I think he does, and I think they gave him that cancer. I say they, the showrunners, not like they within the show, but the showrunners gave him cancer, so it was a touch easier for Alfred to do what he did. That it wasn't like he had another good 30 years with Alfred's mom, but that he was dying of cancer, and so I to me it blunts the tragedy enough that it's something Alfred can survive doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
But narratively, if he lied about the cancer, like that's an interesting option too. But to me, it was kind of almost taking a slightly easier way out. Not that any of that was easy; it was still horrific, and I'm glad we got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That was good storytelling.
Yes. Now, all right. So, all right, Martha and Thomas. Are you happy they finally got together?
Yeah, I still think Thomas is kind of a dick. I don't get what people see in him. I really don't. If I hung out with that guy, I'd be like, nah, judgmental, knows everything. I don't think so. But I enjoyed that scene very much when Martha's just sort of giggling and like, oh my God, we're really doing this. So, but no, that was fun. That was cute. I enjoyed that they had that conversation in the back of a paddy wagon.
Yeah. In fact, at that moment, I don't know if Martha was just suddenly became intrigued with him just because she realized that he had feelings for her. that maybe if that just sprung everything. But I will say, to have him get shot through the window seems a little bit anticlimactic, because like we know that he has to survive because, Batman.
Yeah, they got to make a baby Batman. So
yes, they have to survive long enough for their son to watch them get shot in an alley.
The pearls, always the pearls.
Yeah.
But you're right, that does sort of undercut the seriousness of it, but I suppose it gives motivation for their relationship. It might change the dynamic a little bit or what have you. Yeah.
Maybe. And I'm just trying to think. Let's talk about the Bet sister, the Psych sisters and the Queen.
All right.
That card game they were playing, was that Old Maid, or was that?
I'm not sure exactly what that was. I wasn't sure if that was alt history or if that was something British people play. I don't know. I did like them force feeding the Queen truly disgusting sandwiches.
No, it's 4:00 tea.
Salmon and mustard, capers and pickles. Nice little spot of jam. Just, we won't say we didn't feed you. Eat up.
Have you ever been to England and ordered afternoon tea?
I have a very good friend here in America who is British, and sometimes she has us over for after high tea, and it's the best day when we get that invitation from Kate and we get to go to her house. Ooh. And she has scones and little tiny sandwiches. It's the best. So yes.
Yeah. I read Oscar Wilde. I know all about the cucumber sandwiches. I know what's up. But yeah. So how long? So if this show makes it to a second season, how many episodes do we see before Lord Harwood and the Psych sisters get broken out of the dungeons?
Part of me says the first episode of season 2, but part of me says, you know what? No more than 2 episodes. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it opens with them getting released, with them getting broken out
or breaking out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say, British prison jammies are cute, and it made me think of Paddington, which is a delightful movie, because Paddington 2, there's some British prison jammies in that too.
Oh yes. And I'm not a connoisseur of the Paddington films. From what I hear, Paddington is delightful, but Paddington 2 is incredible.
This genuinely surprises me. I mean, not that you're a talking animated bear kind of guy, but the movies are so good they sort of transcend the talking CGI bear situation. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them. I've seen them on television. But it's not the kind of thing I would put on all. I would choose to watch. But but they're fine. Although Hugh Grant, there was actual Oscar buzz for Hugh Grant in Paddington 2.
He was really good.
I'm not joking about that. That was a thing among entertainment journalists for a while.
He was a delightful rogue. I will fight you on this.
And yeah. So this show ends on a huge cliffhanger. Or not really a cliffhanger on one, whopper of an ending of, Alfred's dad setting off an explosion and Alfred having to carry the queen out. And if this show ends on that imagery, wow. I have no idea how that leads to Batman. But
well, and they gave us that path that I'm going to go to America and lay low. And for a while, I was like, oh, maybe they're going to do season 2 in America. But I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that just be a real kick in the pants to get season 2 of this show, and this show also goes to New Orleans?
What? That would be so weird and disappointing.
Because that's where that boat was headed. It said Louisiana.
Quit moving shows to Louisiana. 2K19.
All right. Cool. Any news for Pennyworth?
So I mentioned the interview Bruno Heller did with The Wrap. It's interesting. Look it up. He does say that, we don't have a confirmed season 2 yet, but he has plans. The Sykes sisters and Lord Harwood are going to keep evolving as villains. And he likes that we're seeing how Batman is Thomas's logic and practicality and Martha's vigilantism and kind of impulse driven. And, so you see the parts of Batman in that. Very cool. But he also said that he kind of feels like this show is the unwritten prequel to V for Vendetta, which, yes, I've been feeling strong V for Vendetta vibes from the beginning. I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm glad it was intentional on his part. Yes. When they put Undine on that truck, I was just like, oh no, Undine. And it felt very V-ish. So yes. I would like the show to get a season 2. I never thought I would say that before it premiered. Never thought it. I would like a season 2 for this show.
Yeah. I'm really into it. I want to see where this goes. I have no idea how Epix runs things. I guess we're gonna find out.
I guess we're gonna find, and who knows what the ratings are. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that
I mean, that is the one good news is Epix is a premium channel, so they're not bound by ratings. I mean, it may be like HBO where they look at the buzz. So
well, I don't know how much buzz there is, but the reception surely has been positive.
Yes, right? Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard anything bad about it. When the show came out, it seemed generally well received. I guess we're just, if you like the show, tweet about it. Go on social media and scream from high heavens that you want more Pennyworth.
Give us Pennyworth.
All right, Sarah, you ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right, next up, Preacher series finale, End of the World. Dog sat in the crowd at the apocalypse, anxious to see Humberdew perform. Tulip and Cassidy hashed it out in Humperdew's dressing room. Jesse tried not to get killed by the Saint of Killers. Arseface's surgeons were so horrified by his face that they offered him assisted suicide. Featherstone gathered her strength to face Herr Starr, who was scrambling for an escape plan. Jesus fought Hitler. Last-minute reveal at Jesse and Tulip's graves. Cassidy said goodbye to their daughter and walked into the burning sun.
So this show is over.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was it inevitable as the tides that Jesus was going to fight Hitler?
Yes, I love that for like most of the show it was just cutting to them fighting. We didn't see any talking or tete-a-tete. It was just them beating each other up.
Yes.
Just continuing what started in the last episode, in the previous episode. And yeah, and Jesus came out on top.
I mean, yeah, of course.
I knew he had it in him.
Kind of. I mean, he did end up working at Home Depot, so.
But you know what? That's the kind of person it takes to have that job.
We need more Jesuses at Home Depot.
As someone who worked in retail for 6 years, yeah, that's the kind of person that the world needs behind that counter.
Do you think if a coworker says, "Ugh, Jesus, take the wheel," he's like, I got this. Go on break. It's fine.
Man. So much going on with this episode. Do you want to start with Featherstone and Hair Star? Do you want to start
Justice for Featherstone? Okay. Poor Featherstone.
So yeah. Man.
In a post-show interview, one of the showrunners, I think it was Sam Caitlin, said that they were going to have Featherstone kill Hair Star, but they wanted some bad to prevail. They kind of wanted that chaos element, so they wanted Hair Star getting away with it on the golf course, surrounded by sycophants. And, that did feel kind of appropriate for the tone of the show, that he would prosper and keep his beauty and get away with things still. So, yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's a little closer to her ending in the book, where she just she gets so close, and it just misses out. And it is a very tragic ending for Featherstone. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I just kind of fell in love with Star in those last moments, that big giant grin that he has. And I was kind of like rooting for him. I don't know why.
Yeah, kind of same. I don't feel good about it. He was not a good guy. But all right. We'll let you have this one, Star.
Yeah, and so by the end, Dog does get his comeuppance. It's weird. I feel like there's all of this stuff that happens in the apocalypse, leading up to the apocalypse, and then finally Humperdoo gets killed. Jesse.
And I gotta say, I was sad about that. I was not pleased that Humperdoo was such a big part of the last season, but when it came right down to it, that made me feel sad.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah. So Dog's plan is thwarted, and he escapes, and Jesse sends out Olive Grail to go find him. And then we jump 2 years ahead to San Antonio.
And they found him.
Yeah, and they found him. This was for fans of the books, which I've read, and go check out Preacher vs. Preacher. I was originally going to be on the last episode, and I got horribly sick. So Agent Palmer was on that episode, and Bill and Palmer do a very detailed, very strong breakdown. So go check that out. But Sarah, just to say, were you surprised or what did you think of the showdown at the Alamo compared to how violent it was in the book, and to kind of how peaceful it is in the show?
I thought it felt a little, small potatoes. I didn't enjoy this last season. I really struggled with the last season, and that includes up to and including the finale. So it was fine. I was much more into In Heaven with the Saint of Killers, because to me that was what needed to happen based on the comic. The Jesse and Dog showdown left me a little cold, I guess. Also, Jesse dismissing the Grail people and a lot of them just falling and dying because they've been doing this for 2 years. Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think? Were you satisfied with the that showdown ultimately?
I will say one thing from the books that I was a little disappointed in was that Jesse and God never really had that conversation.
Okay.
Like I think there's one point where they come face to face, but you're not sure if that's just like a dream. But like I actually like that they sat down and had a chat, and talked about different things. And like Jesse says, this is exactly how I imagined it. And then of course he turns the tables and releases Genesis and everything. But like I actually enjoyed that moment, and that was something that the show delivered on that I feel like the book didn't quite land right. Or never really came through on its promise.
Yeah. The book wasn't super interested in that.
And I will say, God showing up in heaven and the Saint of Killers there waiting for him. That felt satisfying, and that felt like and that was pretty much exactly how it is in the comics.
I was going to say one of my indelible images from the comics is the Saint of Killers slumping on the throne at the end of that. And so I was glad we got that, because that was an important part of the book's DNA for me. Not that this is Preacher versus Preacher. We're just talking about Preacher.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean it's the end. You can't help making some of those comparisons. So yeah, and also things that showed up in that flashback, Hairstar on the golf course. Okay, so here's a storyline that we didn't really talk about. Arseface.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's okay. I think it was interesting that they are kind of leading you down. You don't see him become a rock star, but you get the sense that he's gonna be going down that road, and that it might happen for him. The one thing that I wish that we had gotten, because you know how in that scene he's there's that closing time song that he's been trying to finish forever and never is able to get through it.
Yes.
And then he just says screw it, and he starts just singing something from the heart, and it's really like angry and loud.
Yes.
And like, this world stinks. The one thing I wanted over the end credits was Arseface, like a really well produced heavy metal angry version of Closing Time. I just
that would have been really funny.
Closing Time. That to me just would have been like the perfect button on the show.
I actually enjoyed this storyline. I liked that we got to see him stand up and say, I'm done. I'm good. I'm enough. I'm worth it. Yeah, I liked the self-esteem journey he took. And I fervently wish for Ian Coletti to be cast in a role where we can see his cute face.
Yeah.
I'd like him to go on to do something where he doesn't have prosthetics everywhere.
Yeah, and we also learned something very important, which is that Australian doctors are jerks.
Jerks. Did you for a second think they somehow managed to like fix his face? I honestly had a thought of like, oh my god, did they make him like look better? But no.
Yeah, it was yeah. for a little moment. Yeah, that was
So yeah, I think that was the appropriate ending. The ending he got in the book was would have been harder to pull off, I think. So that was good. I liked the way they left it.
Yes, and really the big important one that we haven't talked about is Cassidy.
I hated the fight with him and Tulip. I hated every second of it.
Really?
Yeah. I really got to like them as a couple, and I hated that. I realized that's how she deals. And so it made sense for the character, but it was hard to watch. I did not care for it. And also, he's a vampire, and he should have been able to overpower her easier, I think. What did you think?
Yeah, I think so. But also kind of like there was no world in which she wasn't going to end up with Jesse.
Oh yeah. No. And I'm happy for that, I guess. But the show betrayed that relationship over and over and over in a way that it just didn't. I didn't care by the end, and that is saying a lot because I'm a big Jesse Tulip person. So the fact that I was just like, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Ugh. Well, they did them dirty in this show, and that frustrates me.
Well, okay, so the last scene is Cassidy at Jesse and Tulip's grave talking with their daughter, who's played by Ruth Negga,
and who seems like a normal contributing member of society, despite her parents.
Yeah. I mean, you get she works for a bank. She's doing like high level finance work. And you know, you can hear a couple of kids running around in the background. So yeah, it seems like you know, she had a happy childhood, hearing about her uncle Cassidy, who was running around the world but never dropped by to visit. I found that moment very cathartic, you know, and just kind of, you know, Cassidy knew what was best for Tulip was for him to be away from her. He always meant to come back, but never did. And, kind of having that moment, I liked the fact that by the end he was able to forgive himself. Mm-hmm. And, the idea that maybe for him to be at peace now is to give death a whirl. And maybe he can find happiness in death, and that walking around. I don't know. I found that moving.
No, I agree. That last image was great. For all that I struggled with the dynamic between the three of them and what the show did with those core characters, sometimes that last scene of him not letting their daughter know what he was going to do, and we just sort of see it happen. I was really that hit me. That was a gut punch, but in a good way, in a fitting way. You know, he doesn't have to live forever. He lived, and when his friends are gone, he's gone. So yeah, that for all my complaints about this last season, I really liked that ending, actually.
All right. So that's Preacher, everybody.
I'm sorry I couldn't have been more upbeat. I'm really sorry. I struggled with this last season a lot. There were things I liked, but you know, goodbye show. You tried.
Yeah. So you think someone else tries this in 10 years, or?
You know, honestly, if somebody would like to adapt Preacher, I'd be very into that. Because we've got the source material.
All right. I mean, you will always have those books. You can always go back to them whenever you want.
This is true. It doesn't ruin the core relationship in the books. It's fine.
Yeah. This is the same thing whenever, you know, DC Comics screws something up in a reboot. Those books from the 80s that you loved are still there, and you can go back and read them anytime. But all right. And there was no news on Preacher, right?
Nope, correct.
All right, so moving on to our last episode for the week, Titans, Season 2, Episode 5, Deathstroke. Dick and the veterans argued the correct course of action after Deathstroke abducted Jason Todd. Corey came to San Francisco and tried helping Rachel understand her new powers. Last minute reveal, Dick couldn't keep his grip, and Jason plummeted down Titan's tower.
Jason Todd, curse your sudden but inevitable plummet out a window. Was that last shot of him taken straight from a comic?
No, it was taken straight from Die Hard.
You are correct. I see it now.
No, in the books, I think he dies in a fire I think it's in Estonia. After being
Ooh,
after
that's bleak upon bleak.
Yeah, after being whacked in the back of the head with a crowbar by the Joker.
We'll get to the Joker.
So no, that is not. And I feel like I think he's alive. I think.
Oh, hard same.
Yes.
Because they would have cut to him landing all broken otherwise, right?
Yes, I think so. I think the next time we see him, Rachel's will use her powers and to scoop him up, and deposit him safely on the ground.
But we did get Dick's horrified face.
Yes,
so.
yes. I think Jason Todd's death will be something the show will be teasing, cliffhangers.
That
for
would
a
be
while.
really funny. Do you think at some point they'll send him on a mission to Estonia and all of us will be like, no?
Yes. Or maybe it was Ethiopia. I think it might have been Ethiopia. It was one of those. It was one of those not so nice countries that begins with an E. Not so nice to live in countries. I don't know.
Equally random.
He went there because he thought his real mom was there. It was all a ruse.
Oh, poor Jason Todd.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So, let's talk about. So he was captured by Deathstroke. Were you surprised Deathstroke killed Dr. Light?
I told you that guy was too annoying for Deathstroke to put up with for long.
Yeah, that was fast.
It was fast. I enjoyed him, and I'm sad to see him go.
Yeah,
so horribly.
Yeah. Lot to talk about. So okay, I don't like the fact that Dick is not keeping Rachel and Gar in the loop, only for the fact that Gar is just unbearable.
Yes.
In this episode.
It has, I will say, it really has, for me, diminished the junior players, and especially Gar. I think his character has the least to do this season. As the, what did you call them, the veterans move sort of front and center. I'm enjoying the veterans, but I just feel like this new team is a little pushed to the side, especially, is it because the Big Green Tiger is so expensive to animate?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think also it's the kind of thing where, like, you know, they're realizing that maybe we should have had these guys to begin with.
Maybe that's what we should have done. Shoot.
And yeah. So I think that's something that's going to be.
But yeah, I didn't care for him and Rachel fighting. I loved Corey and Rachel, though. I'm glad Corey came back. I was pleased to see that because that relationship was so great in season 1. So I like that she tracked Rachel down and that they sort of had a astral princess to astral princess conversation or whatever.
Yeah. When Corey just explained the idea of transfiguration, and that, you know, she learning how to control her powers, and you know that she's going through a similar process. I thought that's interesting, and I want to see more of that going forward, of Corey trying to help Rachel get her powers under control.
Also, Dick likes her new hair.
That's
important.
New hair. Mm-hmm.
And can we talk about Rose? That was creepy. That was creepy camera work. That was creepy.
So yeah, she's the Ravager, which means she can get ravaged and then come back.
Is that what that means? I genuinely didn't know. So she can come back, but not her eye? That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think that's just like a Wilson family tradition. Jumping around so much. So we had so many moments in here. Sometimes the teen soap nature of the show gets a little much for me. To me that conversation between Gar and Rachel, just their whole Gar suddenly turning on Rachel, that felt way too high school. And also kind of felt a little out of character for Gar. Like he's
I was gonna say that felt a little unearned.
Yeah, like he's freaking out in a way that he never really has before. And I don't really like it. I don't know where it's coming from. You know, someone needs to like sit him down and hey dude, relax, what's going on? Talk to me. You know, just no one really has time to do that right now because you have Deathstroke trying to kill everybody. Yeah. Also, Hawk and Dove, you know, kind of
Hawk and Dove were also in this episode. It's
yeah,
kind of how I felt about it.
But I feel like there was a similar moment where you know just they were getting angry with each other and then made up very quickly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all these things happened.
All right. So Corey is seems to be signaling that she's going to be sticking around because she wants to help Rachel, and she kind of has a thing for Dick. So does that mean that the Tamarins are going to send more people after her?
Maybe. And is her guard who's in love with her still locked in that pod?
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that's all.
Is he just still there? I mean, that's okay.
Well, she told him there was enough processed food in there for him, you know. And...
I mean, yeah, I guess, but was there enough reading material for him? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like how many books are on his Kindle?
Oh, there's got to be
think about these things.
There's got to be a Roku player in there, you know.
He's got a Zune. It's fine.
A Zune. Oh, so yeah. Lots going on, and we're still getting Superboy this season, right?
I don't know if we want to pivot to news. There is a first look or a new look at Superboy that was part of the news roundup that I actually didn't include because it's a picture of a guy in a black shirt with a red Superman S on his chest. But it is a reminder we haven't seen Superboy yet, so apparently he's still to come.
Okay.
They have not forgotten about him. There is somebody on set getting pictures taken in the Superboy costume. So
yeah, and I really like that S.M. Morales as Deathstroke has kept his mask on. And sometimes him walking around because of the way the suit is, it almost looks like a video game. But I'm kind of okay with it. And I'm really into this character. It's a very different from Manu Bennett's Deathstroke on Arrow. But I think that the way that they've been using that character in this show has been very effective.
Yeah, Manu Bennett feels very rage fueled, and I feel like this one is just over it. He's over it.
Okay. Any more news for Titans?
We have episode titles for 7 through 10. It will be Jericho, followed by Bruce Wayne, followed by Atonement, followed by Fallen.
Okay. So yeah, and all right, so that's it for Titans. Now, I think what we're gonna do now, we have 3 new shows that are gonna be returning next week. And I watched the finales from last season for all those shows. So I figured we could do a quick refresher just to remind listeners kind of where those shows are. Sarah, you ready to dive into that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to be talking about is Supergirl. Sarah, what do you remember about Supergirl from season 4?
Everything, because I recapped it for EW.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm recapping season 5, friends, so tune in Sunday night for my season premiere recap. Yeah, Red Daughter defeated. Lex is there. Lex is awesome. Lex told Lena that Kara is Supergirl. Lena is betrayed. This is setting up season 5, which is going to be all about technology. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Brainy and Naya are a thing. So
yeah, we got a new character, Naya, is Dream Girl, and who Brainy struck up a relationship with, we found out, because he dated her descendant in the future. And
he's got a type.
Yes, he has a type. So like the big main storylines here were Ben Lockwood and the Children of Liberty, who were building up anti-alien sentiment around the country. And also Red Daughter being trained in Casnia. And we found out that both of these things were being orchestrated by Lex Luthor, played by John Cryer.
Played really well by John Cryer, I gotta say.
Yeah, I was impressed. Mm-hmm. I was impressed. And
and he ended up looking a little murdered by the end of the season, but I'm assuming we'll find a way to bring Lex back.
Yes, yeah, I think we will. I'm sure we will.
Lex finds a way.
So looking into season, looking forward to season 5. I'm just looking through here. So just the finale recap. This is the recap that I read out for the finale, which is called The Quest for Peace from season 4. Kara published her expose on Lex as he put his plan into motion to enslave aliens for energy production and launch a missile to destroy Argo City in space. John and Nia started a revolt in the Shelley Island refinery to signal Supergirl and free the prisoners. And the drugged up and crazed Ben Lockwood gathered together for the last of the Children of Liberty for a final assault. And the last minute reveal was a dying Lex received a visit from the Monitor. And
and Leviathan.
Yes,
Leviathan.
Yes. We found out that Miss Tessmacher, she was doing a lot of double crossing. She double crossed Lena because she was working with Lex, and then we found out she was only working with Lex because she was told to by Leviathan.
And we will explore Leviathan this coming season as well.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, we've got Leviathan. And we have John's brother, who was brought to Earth by the Monitor, who's going to be stirring up trouble because he feels like John betrayed him. Lots of stuff to look forward to with that. Are you excited? I'm excited.
I am. Supergirl's getting pants.
Yes. Oh, getting pants and bangs. Oh, man.
Big changes afoot.
All right. So the next show to talk about is going to be Black Lightning. And Black Lightning season 2. So the main storylines were these pod kids, the children in the pods, that Lynn was in charge of keeping together, and of course Tobias White wanted to take control of and worked with Dr. Helga Jace to free them and use them for his own dastardly deeds. The Masters of Disaster. And yeah. So, and also Jennifer began to get control of her powers and discovered her powers, and by the end of this, I guess you would call her Lightning. I don't know if she actually officially...
She's got a suit.
She's got a suit. She's got a costume. Anissa went back and forth between being Thunder and being Blackbird to go steal money for the church. Not steal money. To beat up bad...
She Robin Hooded it.
Yeah, to beat up bad guys to get money for the church. So at the end, the last minute reveal from season 2's finale, just when Jefferson thought he finally had time to be happy, Agent Odell dropped by to warn the Pierce family that the Markovians are bringing a metahuman war to Freeland.
Man, that guy's the worst.
Yes. Agent Odell, really, really creepy. Yeah. I don't know. I guess Lynn kind of has to work for him. I do not trust him. And for the trailers that we've seen for season 3, it looks like that the Pierce family is going to have a lot of trouble to deal with.
Yeah. That I think
Mhm.
it covers everything I would have covered.
Yeah.
That one feels a little more distant because it's been off the air longer.
That's true. Yeah, and they usually only do 16 episodes. I mean, they haven't announced anything for season 3 as to how many episodes we're going to get. But I feel like we might go a little bit more outside of Freeland and see a little bit of the big picture of what's going on. They said we're not actually going to Markovia, right?
Correct. I believe Markovia is coming to us.
Yeah, but we may get closer to seeing The Outsiders, which I know is going to be the big. For those of you watching Young Justice, The Outsiders was a big part of that season, which included Black Lightning was a character, as well as Dr. Helga Jace. I wonder if that's kind of the direction that we're going in. And are we going to get Grace Choi? Is Grace Choi going to come back? Anissa's on again, off again girlfriend, who I'm always kind of afraid of whether or not that that relationship always felt
that
weird.
Unhealthy relationship is gonna
yeah.
I do believe she's coming back this coming season. I hope to a healthier relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I hope she becomes a hero. The more the merrier. All right, last refresher is The Flash. So we're now going into season 6. Season 5 was all about Cicada. Do you remember Cicada, Sarah?
I do, and then I remember Cicada's replacement Cicada.
Yes, Cicada 2. Yeah. So Cicada was killing all of these metahumans because did not really like metahumans, and Nora, Barry and Iris's daughter, came back from the future to help out Barry and Iris, and it turned out that she'd been sent there by Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, who wanted them to destroy Cicada so that he could escape his prison in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good reveal.
And so they were able to stop his plan, but in doing that we lost Nora. Nora kind of shattered into a million pieces. I
hate when that happens.
Yes, but that just means that the timeline changed, or that there was a new timeline.
But this upcoming season's going to be a lot of the West Allen parents dealing with Nora's shattering.
Yes. I mean, it might still happen. They might still get to meet Nora. You don't know. And I think part of that was the last minute reveal, which the Gideon showed the date on the Red Skies headline change from 2024 to 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So that means Crisis is coming. And that
Crisis
is coming. And Sarah, what do we know from the news on season 6? Who's the big bad? What's going to be the story?
Well, the story is leading up to the Crisis. So they're talking about it as graphic novel 1 and graphic novel 2, like volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 is pre-Crisis and then volume 2 is post-Crisis. And Bloodwork is going to be the big bad leading up to the Crisis. And I guess he's going to be kind of linked with things happening in the Crisis. And 2, I don't recall hearing what's going to happen in the back half of the season. It's going to be all Crisis Fallout stuff. So the Flash seems quite centrally involved in that. Other news, we are going to get a new Wells. This one is rough around the edges, an adventurer. He holds his own in a fight. I'm very into all of that.
Cool.
And in an interview with EW, the showrunner said Sisko won't get his powers back anytime soon, which clearly tips their hand that he's going to get his powers back, which, okay. He and his relationship with his girlfriend, whose name I can't even remember because that's how important she was last season, are going strong. He's in a happy relationship. She's just part of the group now, so I guess I have to learn her name.
Camilla.
Thank you. He and Camilla are very happy together, apparently. We're going to see a lot more Killer Frost and Caitlin. We've covered that already. And this season, they're going to explore Barry and Iris as an interracial couple that they haven't really tackled that before. So they're going to kind of show little hints about what that's like for them, which I thought was kind of interesting. I forgot to tell you this off air, but there's a set photo that indicates that maybe we might be getting Negative Flash.
Huh. I'm not familiar with Negative Flash.
He's a comic thing, and it's got weird shadows around him, and there was a set photo of like weird shadow Flash. I don't know. So, and then there was this exchange in a Collider interview with showrunner Eric Wallace. The interviewer asks, in the Bronze Age comics, we learned that Iris was actually born in the 30th century and was sent back in time. Is that a story that would ever be adapted to the TV show? Wallace says, yes. Interviewer says, can you elaborate? Wallace says, no, but I'm telling you, yes. So is our Iris from the 30th century? And if so, why isn't she better at journalism?
Ooh, that's a dig. Maybe she's from the 30th century, but she was raised in the 21st. So I don't know. Take what you will.
All right.
But yeah, that is a storyline. That's why Barry's grandson, Bart Allen, aka Impulse, comes from the 30th century and travels back in time to meet his grandpa, and that's when he becomes Impulse, and then later Kid Flash, and a member of the Teen Titans. So wow, maybe that's gonna happen. I'm sure that's gonna be way down the line. That's got to be at least post-Crisis.
I gotta say, if you're a superhero and you're choosing a name, kid and girl and boy, I just feel like you gotta think long term, and you gotta hold off on names that make you young. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's why you choose that name when you're a sidekick, and then you eventually grow into it. Like I believe at one point Bart Allen became the Flash for like a handful of issues, and then Barry Allen came back from the dead.
Guys, I told you, call me Man Flash. I'm not Kid Flash anymore.
I always preferred Impulse anyway, but that's just me.
So that is what I've got about the Flash.
All right, and the Flash. All right, so then I think now it's time.
I would say the fourth show that premieres this week is Batwoman, right?
Yeah. So you want to get into news for other shows?
Yeah, let's do that. I guess before we do Batwoman, we can talk about the crossover.
Yeah,
as we like to do. We've got a released on social media photo of two Supermen with one Lois Lane. Tom Welling, Elizabeth Tulloch, and Tyler Hoechlin posed for a photo in their Clark and Lois guises, and it's great. Everybody's smiling and happy, and it makes my heart happy. And I am concerned that we have so many guest stars in the Crisis that we're not going to get to spend enough time with any of them, but this is great.
Yeah,
there's so much flannel in that picture. So much flannel. Speaking of Smallville, season 11 of Smallville, which was in comic book form, is considered canon for the crossover. So to me, that means there's a thing that happened in the season 11 comics that will be referenced, or that will, be part of what makes the storyline or the characters the way that they are, which is kind of interesting. If you've read season 11 comics of Smallville, let us know.
I have not. That was coming out like right after the show ended. But I do believe that's where they introduced the Smallville version of Batman, because Batman wasn't in the show. So maybe that's how they tie it into the Crisis. It's got to be something with Batman or Batgirl, maybe.
Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That's cool. The other little bit Crisis news: Audrey Marie Anderson, who plays Lila on Arrow, is suiting up as Harbinger, who seems to play a role in the Crisis.
Okay. So our friend Ashley at River8878 asked us, who's Harbinger? Does does this mean we're going to get the Lantern Corps? And sorry to disappoint, but no, she's not a Green Lantern character. Harbinger is the adoptive daughter of the Monitor, who plays a very pivotal role, and she is very powerful, and still kind of learning to use her powers. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say. If you look at her costume, it's very, very 80s. And yeah, very, very 80s, very Kirby inspired. So, and you said that the actress who plays Lila on Arrow is going to be that character?
Yeah.
All right. It's cool.
And I don't know if maybe Ashley was thinking Lantern, Diggle, if there was some connection there. I don't know. But I am excited to see them using current actors in other ways too. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. And they said Tom Cavanaugh is going to be playing Pariah. So it's interesting to see how they're utilizing the actors that they have to become important parts of the Crisis.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Indeed. Okay. So moving on then to Batwoman, which
Batwoman music
this week, Sunday. Rachel Maddow is going to play the voice of Vesper Fairchild in Batman or Batwoman World. How many times am I going to do that? In Batwoman World, Vesper is a radio journalist, and so we will hear Rachel Maddow's voice in multiple episodes.
That's cool. I know she's a huge fan of Batwoman. She wrote a foreword, I think, to the first graphic novel, to the first volume of the comics and trade paperback.
It was my top news for me on Twitter yesterday, and I just stared at that for a long time trying to figure out the Rachel Maddow Batwoman. Okay, cool. Which just was not expected. Other casting news: Gabriel Mann is going to play Tommy Elliott, a friend of Bruce's who grows up to be Hush.
Yes, he does.
Yes. Gabriel Mann, you might know from Revenge, is what I know him from. And it's going to be a little different than in the comics. I mean, that's what they always say. But yeah, you're going to get some Tommy Elliott.
Question: does Gabriel Mann have flaming red hair?
Answer: no, but he's kind of blondish, so it would be easier to dye it, and it might look a little more natural on him than that poor kid over on Riverdale. So
okay.
Yeah, that's my answer. Tommy Elliott has flaming red hair. Okay, cool. And finally, Ruby Rose, who plays Batwoman, had spinal surgery this past week, and she documented some of it on social media in kind of a way. But she'd injured herself doing stunts. I don't believe for Batwoman it was a pre-existing thing, but she did have to get spinal surgery. So we wish her a speedy recovery.
Yeah. I started looking at some of those pics and had to look away. So
did you peace out?
Yeah, I peaced out. Yeah, for those of you, I kind of have a thing. Like I can handle gore in horror movies, but anything that's like actual, like, has to do with like medical, in like a doctor's room scene, that involves blood or bone setting, I just can't handle.
So send Ed your own surgery pics to @LilEddieO'Hare.
This is why I couldn't get through like the first 20 minutes of The Nick on set.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Steven Soderbergh, I apologize, but it was just not. I couldn't. No, sorry.
I mean, it's brilliant men doing terrible things. You've seen versions of The Nick before. You're fine.
Okay, all right. Moving on.
Moving on to Arrow. Hey, Colton Haynes is coming back. He's going to recur in this final season of Arrow, so we will get our Roy. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
I just please not flash forward Roy. Oh my God.
Yeah, they tried saying that he wasn't coming back. But, yeah, I knew that was all hokum, and you can't bring Thea back without bringing him back. So.
I mean, I hope we get to see the two of them together.
I hope. You see, that should be the spinoff. That should have been the spinoff, not the Canaries. I want to see Thea and Roy out there hunting down what's left of the League of Assassins.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Mm-hmm.
I would also watch a future set show if they fix the future. But that's we've talked about. This is not new to anybody who listens to us. It's fine.
Yes.
Other bit of Arrow news. Stephen Amell tweeted a photo of him as Tony Stark pre-snap. So he's kind of got the Iron Man mask around his face, and he's got the gauntlet. So I don't know if he's helping prepare us for certain sacrifices or if he's just trolling.
I can understand fans making up that meme. I don't know if I like the idea of him doing that. That seems a little forward.
Maybe a fan made it and he was just passing it along.
All right.
Or not. Okay, moving on to, are you ready for a couple of new shows?
Yeah.
All right. Bizarro TV.
Bizarro
is going to stream on DC Universe, and tell us more about it.
Okay, so Bizarro TV, this was announced. It's going to be on DC Universe. It's an anthology show. So it's going to be a bunch of different things, and it's going to be mixed media. So it's a mix of animated and live action. And it looks like it's going to be just random stories from throughout the DC Universe, all over the place. And you know how big DC the DC canon is. So there's so many different things to take from. A couple of characters that they did mention would show up are Ambush Bug and Space Cabbie. So this is going to be some.
Those aren't real characters.
Yes, they are.
You're lying.
Yes, they are. So you're going to see some off the wall, really like D-list characters come to the forefront. And I'm really excited by that. I think this is a great idea. Coincidentally, DC Universe also announced a contest for fans who want to submit pilot and show ideas. And I think they've announced that a certain number of people are going to get $1,000 to pitch their idea to executives, and that 3 winners are going to get $5,000 to shoot their pilot. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those ideas end up on Bizarro TV. I don't know. They're hoping to put this out sometime in 2020. So I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. I'm not even sure if we're going to cover it at this point. But just the idea that this exists, I think it comes from an anthology of humorous stories called Bizarro Comics #1, of which one of the artists and writers who contributed to that is Evan Dorkin, who I have met, and we share the same local comic shop, which unfortunately announced it's closing this week. But it's one of my favorite comic book collections. The cover is done by Matt Groening, and it's all very, very, very funny stories from all the characters from all over the DC universe.
So this is their comedy show.
Yes, yeah. I would think of it as like an anthology, kind of, almost like a sketch show, or as much of a. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be comedy based.
Okay. Do you have your pilot script written?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Cool.
All right. What else we got?
Okay. Another new show, DMZ, on HBO Max.
Ooh.
Directed by Ava DuVernay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah. Deadline reported this. So HBO Max has announced they've been in development and they've ordered a pilot for DMZ, which is based on a Vertigo book from the aughts that I have not read. I never really picked it up because it seemed like a very bleak story. But I from what I hear, it's very well done. It's written by Brian Wood, who's a very popular graphic comic book writer. The basic story is that there is a second American Civil War, And part of the fallout is that Manhattan gets declared a demilitarized zone, and it's about the sparse population left in Manhattan who are trying to survive in the fallout of the war.
That sounds fun.
Yes, it sounds fun. Sounds
no, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
That sounds really, really dark.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be well done. HBO does things really well, but what's interesting to me is they wanted to do a show with Game of Thrones showrunners Weiss and Benioff about the Civil War. And the internet rose up and said, please don't let those two white men do a story about the Civil War. And so now they're doing a post Second Civil War fallout show with Ava DuVernay. So that's really interesting. I don't know if that springs from the same desire to do that or not. I don't know. That's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm happiest about is that Vertigo, for a period of about 15 to 20 years, put out some incredible books for mature readers, and I feel like it's the biggest untapped reservoir that Warner Brothers has, and it's nice to see that they're dipping into that a bit.
Yeah, gotta be honest, when you said it was a Vertigo book, I was like, oh, well then I'll probably like it. That's good. Good to know.
So yeah, right now as much as we do. But yeah. So Ava DuVernay, and she's also working on a New Gods movie. So this is the second DC Comics property she's attached to. And again, they've announced they are going to shoot the pilot, and they're hoping for a 2020 release on HBO Max, which is a service that does not exist yet. So looking forward to it.
And who's that going to be? Is that separate from HBO Now, HBO Go?
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's supposed to be dropping in the spring. And yeah, it's going to be all of HBO plus these other things. It's basically like it's the umbrella for all of Warner Media's streaming service. So the same way that Comcast Universal is creating the Peacock and Disney has Disney Plus, Warner Media's version of that is HBO Max. So I think it may actually encompass DC Universe, but also all of Warner Media's cable properties, like True TV, and the CW, and it looks like they're going to be doing some original material on top of that.
All right.
Yeah.
If only somebody could bring all these different channels and services together and you could just pay for them with one bill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inventing the cable company is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Roku kind of has something like that, where I think you can just pay all of your services through them as like a third party, but you're not getting any discount through them, which is the sad part.
Yeah. So anyway, that is interesting. That's we needed more shows. So great.
All right.
Last show we're going to talk about this week is Why the Last Man on FX.
Why music?
And that is to say that at New York Comic Con this past week, Brian K. Vaughan said that this show is the version that fans deserve. It's going to reflect the current political climate. It's got a diverse writer's room. They've got for example, a trans writer who is going to incorporate those kinds of storylines into the show. So it sounds like it's going to be current, topical. Brian K. Vaughan is really excited about it. Counterpoint, what else is Brian K. Vaughan going to say?
Well,
yeah, I don't know about this show, guys. No.
I mean, the fact that it sounds like he's still involved, and still involved enough to know who's in the writer's room, I find encouraging.
Good point. He's not walking away. He's not washing his hands. He's not disavowing. So that's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's kind of good to hear.
All right. And that was the last news for this week, right?
Correct.
All right. So it's time for our winners of the week. I'll go first.
Okay.
we had some big moments happen in all three shows this week. And I'm going to choose a very small piece of the Preacher finale, which is the smile on Hairstar's face when he gets caught by Dog. As he's trying to sneak out, he gives him this big grin, and then Dog tells him to run, and he runs out of Masada. I don't know why. I found it charming, and for how horrible and despicable his character has been for this whole show, that all of a sudden he just turns turns into this guy who just, like, I don't know why, but for some reason I was rooting for. And just that one smile, like, oh man, oh come on, now he's got to get away. And I was happy to see him working on his golf game and murdering Florida police chiefs a couple of years later. So Hairstar's smile, that's my winner for the week.
Nice. Honestly, my winner of the week, the Queen.
Ooh.
In Pennyworth, because she escaped. She has a boy toy now who rescued her from certain death. It felt like everything was coming up the Queen. I don't know. I'm going the Queen. And I'm disappointed in myself, but I tried to find a way to make all three shows work together. But these were three very different shows, and there was nothing in common. So, I'm going to tip my crown to the Queen.
Did she describe Alfred as scrumptious?
Yes, get it, Your Highness. That's all.
All right, Sarah, we did an episode. The good news is we're done with this episode.
Are we ever really going to be done with this episode?
Well, the bad news is we have to record the Joker special after this. So look forward to that. That's a DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
Follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!